Okay, we are back in the studios with the one and only and the legends, the Haut family. We got a father-son combo over here. We got Mr. Howard and Blake, both killers, both killed it at Overton. So your family's done really good out there this year, huh?
Yeah. The family did good. The family did good.
The family's did good.
Yeah.
Are you being humble over here or what, man?
Oh no, my father and my brother did really good this year.
So
Yeah, these guys do it. They kill it. So, man, we have a lot going on this week, man. Just a ton. So you're working on getting this youth hunt put together and all the prizes for that. We got new member of the Battle-Worn Ducker family, Hoist Hydration. So
yeah,
IV standard hydration. So tastes great, and it really is. It's not like your standard, stuff that tastes like you're drinking seawater and you wave some fruit over the top of it. But cool thing about them is they gave us a code, so everybody in the Battle-Worn Duckers family can go visit Drink Hoist and use the BBD10, and they can get a discount and get yourself some really good hydration stuff. So
yeah, that's something that my wife makes me do when I'm being grumpy. She makes me go drink water. So if I could drink less of it and it tastes better, that's what it sounds like this whole product's
either
about.
you drink
isn't
water,
it?
or you,
I agree with that.
it's either you drink water, or she drinks a lot of whiskey, one of the two. And since she don't drink whiskey, you're kind of in trouble.
It's probably a good thing she don't drink whiskey. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, Hoist. If you guys go check them out, that'd be great. Well, me and Howard started off the season kind of interesting. Do you remember our dove hunt we were on together? What happened on that one?
Oh, in the beginning of the season, yeah, when you guys got peppered.
Yeah. So we were out hunting Overton at the beginning of the season, and the house. And this is the reason we brought on the show, is because we're having this youth hunt coming up, and Overton is its own beast. And if anybody were to know Overton the best, it would be the Haut family. That's hands down, I think. But anyway, so I was out there, and me and Howard, we've exchanged numbers, and so we were kind of communicating what was going on and where we were sitting and making sure we weren't in each other's firing patterns. And I think Blake was out there with you too, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, you were out there with him too. Mm-hmm. And if you guys don't know how Overton works early in the season, is they take the bulrushes and they grow sunflowers, and you have a good amount of doves out there. You really do. And so we had a group of us out there, and we were sitting far enough away from Howard where we weren't going to hit him and he wasn't going to hit us. And we had this dove come by, and it flew over Alan Finney's shoulder. He has pointers, and he turned to shoot that thing, and you know what? Someone got him right in the face. And thank goodness he was wearing glasses, because he had a trickle of blood right here under his eyelid. Well, I called Howard, and Howard chased the guy down and drug him over to us and made him apologize.
Well, that's a good thing about duck season. We don't have to worry about anybody shooting you, because they never let the ducks get within 100 yards of the ground. So you're good. If they're 5 miles up, they're going to take them. So Ron and I were talking to the guys to our boys from Kicks, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to do us a favor, and we need some new chokes. We want to market some new chokes. We're going to call them the Astronaut, and we're just going to market them to those guys at Overton."
That would be some of the best marketing. All you have to do is say it shoots farther, and people will buy it.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult parts of that WMA is, man, it's a tough place to hunt, just because we don't necessarily have the best, most ethical hunters out there. Mm-hmm. And so one of the good things about Howard and his family is I know that if I'm somewhere around Howard, that any of the Houts, if I'm around them, we're going to be able to hunt, right? And we're going to be able to let birds work. The difficult part is if you're not, and there's some people that are out there every weekend that you'd think would be really good hunters, and I won't hunt near half of them anymore just because of that.
There's certain guys that I make sure wherever they're at, I'm going to go the opposite way.
You got to watch the checkerboard, man. You got to see where they place their piece. And, if their piece is in between a blind where I'm at and Howard's at, I'm going to go ahead and, move somewhere else, even if it's not the ideal blind, That's why first choice is always the worst, because you never know who's going to get next to you.
When you draw low, it's sometimes it's very bad.
Middle numbers is what you're looking for.
And you got to play the game, too. So there's times where it's just time to, I drew a ball, but then I got surrounded by idiots, and it's time to change something up. So, and it's a game. It makes it a lot tougher, just because you can't do what you normally would do and just go and hunt and let birds work.
Oh yeah,
you're going to have a hard time. But we got it out in Heiko this year too. I mean, we had a guy who told him, "Hey, we're going to be right. We're already set up right here. Why don't you go across from us?" He's like, "No, I'm going to hunt right next to you." Well, he was close enough to where he dropped his one and only bird, and Rock broke to get his bird. It was so close to us. So it's like, and so he wasn't able to have a good hunt because he only had like a dozen decoys, and we set 8 dozen decoys that day just so we could pull birds into us. So they were all coming into our decoys, and if he would have done what we asked him to, and he would have had birds all day long. But guys, they get in their mind that they want a spot, and they think everybody's out to get them all the time, and so it doesn't work very well.
Yeah, a lot of guys, when I've been up there, and I've hunted Pittman a lot, when I've gotten up there and somebody's gotten a little too close, I'd rather invite you over to hunt with me than hunt on top of me and screw me, so I'd much rather you be over here with me.
Yeah, let's control the hunt, right?
Exactly.
So how long has your family been out hunting Overton?
I think my father and my grandfather's been out there since the 70s.
Since the 70s. Yeah. And then your grandfather recently passed, right?
Yeah, my grandfather passed 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I saw that nice memorial you have up at Honeybee for him.
Yeah, that was he was one of the guys that I always enjoyed seeing in the morning because he was just when we were going out there early. It was this last couple of years. It's changed. It's been a lot different place. So you go there in the morning before, and nobody talked to anybody. Everybody just kept to themselves. Everybody's grumpy in the morning. But your grandpa was always one of the first ones to say hi, and you talk to him and say, "Hey, I'm going to bounce this off you. Here's what I'm thinking." And there was a good conversation. And now it seems like there's a lot more of us that kind of get together. We say hi, we talk to each other a little bit. It's not such a somber event, but you end up being able to hunt a little bit better just because everybody kind of knows where everybody's going and what they're thinking. So
I remember seeing your grandpa. He's always there early in the morning. He looked like the Marlboro man. He always had that cigarette going. And, he's always like, if he knew you and liked you, he always smile and talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
But if he didn't know you or like you, he's pretty quiet.
That's pretty much the family's way.
Is that the family's
That's
way?
the family's way.
Yeah. And so that's 4 generations of hunters now gone through that WMA, correct?
Yeah.
With your son going
our
now.
kids, mine and my brother's kids, yeah.
Yeah. So what have you shot this year, Blake? What have you done, man? What's one of your epic hunts? Anything?
half of the geese in the valley, I think.
Definitely the goose hunt. Shot 3 geese that day. I was saying 3.5 because the sixth goose we shot, me and my dad smoked them together. And then there was another chance we got at geese. How high were they? When I got that single that straight off.
Oh, probably 30 yards.
And Dad missed all his shots. I hit one, crippled him.
Oh, right.
Anything outside
right
20 yards,
under
I'm
the
not
bus,
hitting.
man.
Anything outside 20 yards, I'm not touching it.
No.
I pinpointed where he went down. We were looking for him.
Well, where was this at? Was this in a field or in the
bulrush.
The bulrush. Okay, nice.
We haven't hunted in a field all season.
Oh, that makes sense. So
Been a slow field season.
Well, the
Yeah.
geese were weird this year because they usually you can see them almost every day, and this year it was hit and miss, and sometimes they're there. They didn't go down into. Usually they'll hit the fields at Beck's and just sit there all day. I haven't seen them once this year on the field sitting at Beck's.
I've seen them up the valley one time, a little small bunch, but I mean, like you said, usually they're up the valley late season, here and there, but not at all this year.
Yeah,
Not
it was-
at all.
So you're hunting them, and you pinpointed when they went down. Did you go find them yourself, or did you send your dog out?
We both went out because
Yeah.
the goose was still definitely alive. I couldn't find him. There's another group that came over and said they sailed a bird, and we thought it was their bird. And when Dad, I didn't notice, where Dad saw a goose that cleared the, it like went down and cleared. Dad thought that was our goose. We kept looking. I didn't think it would make it to the ditch because it landed in the water for sure. But Dad threw a rock into the ditch after the guys told him to check it out. A second later, the guy said, "There's a goose in there. Flap around. You can hear it flapping around." And Echo's down in there, got it. He pulls it out. It's a young one.
Yeah.
Yeah, young goose. Full
So your dog's name's Echo, boy, girl,
boy.
boy, and he did pretty good with a live goose though. Some of those geese can be mean with those dogs,
Oh,
right?
If it's live, he's a killer. He's
He is.
he's a little, when they're dead, he acts, kind of dumb. He goes out there and plays around, but if they're alive, he's a killer. He is a killer.
Well, it's funny because you can't teach. I mean, it's hard. We go to we do the dog trials every year, and so those dogs, just a lot of them haven't been on a live bird before, or they haven't been on enough live birds. And what you'll see is once the bird's warm, they'll drop it. They don't want anything to do with it. So they'll somebody cripples a bird, or it's a fresh shot bird. If those dogs haven't seen it before, they're like, I don't want anything to do with it.
They don't like hot blood in their mouth.
Yeah, it's-
Like a moving bird, they don't like the feathers.
yeah. And Rock, we had him out. The closing weekend, we were out sitting at Pittman, and he had a bird diving, and he'd pop up here and pop up there. Well, once he went down about the second time, he's like, I got this. And he'll go into the water and get him.
Oh, yeah.
He'll nail him. So,
Yeah. Is that one of your favorite things? It's one of my favorite things, at least, to watch the dog work on the birds.
The funniest thing that I seen was either when my dog thought the geese we shot, when we shot those 12 geese that day, me and my family together, when he was swimming around the goose that we shot, acting like it was a decoy. It was hilarious.
The
My
goose
dad-
was alive and his head up, and the dog.
Oh, no,
It
he
was-
was dead.
Oh, really?
He thought it was a decoy. My dad was getting pissed off. He was like, "Echo, get this bird. Don't make me walk out there."
Yeah.
Because we were in the honeybee, and he didn't walk out. He didn't want to walk out. He finally got it, and then there was another funny moment. Dad crippled a teal, Drake cinnamon teal. No, greenwing.
Yeah.
We got on the bird. Echo gets into the brush. He's looking. All of a sudden, it skirts out of the bush. Dies. Echo's playing stupid scuba diver, trying to get it.
Yeah.
Under, up, couldn't find it. Finally goes in this one brush, right? Only his tail and his butt out. And Dad's like, Echo, what are you doing? Stupid. Go find the bird. And all of a sudden he starts yanking. He's like, oh, he might have the bird. Comes out with the heel. It has no head. I go and looking where he was. I saw the teal's head. It was holding under the brush. Got its head ripped off.
You know how live birds do. They get down there and try to drown themselves.
Yep.
Hold on to something. Well, he got a hold of him and he tore his head off.
that's funny.
Well, that's a good dog, man. You can't train that, you know?
Yeah.
We had last closing day. I mean, Rock's a nutcase, anyways. But
Oh, my gosh.
he loves to get. His favorite thing is to go grab coot. He'll go grab coot out of the brush.
Well, Howard's seen that. Howard's seen him run through his blind trying to grab a coot Overton.
I've had your dog in my blind before, yes.
So-
I've had your dog.
We're packing up, and we're moving. We had everything packed up. We're kind of dragging our gear out, and so Rock disappears. Ron's yelling for Rock. Can't find him. I can hear him bounce around inside the bulrush, and I'm just like, where's he at? And so he's yelling. Well, finally, here comes Rock, popped out with a mallard hen. Just like, hey, look what I got, guys.
We didn't shoot this hen.
Yeah,
We didn't shoot it.
He just went in and
He
grabbed
went-
it and came back out.
It was close after shooting light. Maybe after shooting. I don't know what the game warden's gonna do with this. Anyways, it was close to shooting light, and he decided the hens come in and roost in those high cattails, you know. And so Rock decided to go get one, you know, because we weren't shooting enough that day. So
Was it fully alive?
If you bore them,
yeah,
if you bore them, they're going to go find something for you.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, for us closer that Saturday was just, there were birds out deep. There were a ton of canvasbacks out deep, but they were not working anybody's decoys. I mean, they'd hit the middle, they'd come off the middle, they'd make sure they flew where nobody was, and then they'd go back out and land right back in the middle again.
Up there and printing it.
Yeah. So they've been shot out. I mean, it happens
Educated.
late season.
Yeah. That time of the year, they're
Ivy
really
League.
educated.
Yeah. Hey, so what do you remember as a youth hunting Overton, man? How has it changed?
Oh man, I've been out there since I was probably 6, 7 years old. You know, Dad can take me out there. Gosh, I remember waves of birds coming up from the lake in the mornings. I remember it didn't matter what blind we were in, we were killing birds. If he was in a field, he was killing geese. You know, as a kid coming up, it was a lot better hunt, a lot better place than it is now. I mean, it's gone downhill, but you know, mostly due to weather and everything else. You know, and the stuff, the people around us.
Yeah.
I mean, the people back in the day when you were growing up, you know, if a goose was in the air, a duck hunter didn't pull the trigger. That was just how it was. It didn't matter if there was a single in the air. If a single was in the air over the project and somebody was duck hunting, it didn't matter what was coming into your decoys or coming over you. Guys didn't pull the trigger. They let that goose do what it was going to do. Let the goose hunters get their chance and go on their way. You didn't sky bust. You didn't hunt over people's decoys. You know, the things that happens now, it wasn't going to happen back in the day.
The
At all.
etiquette's gone.
Oh,
That's
dude,
part of the
it's way
problem,
gone.
and that's one of the reasons we started this. Is we kind of want to bring that back. We think there's a lot of value in it. But back in the day, I mean, they had duck hunting mothers down at the river.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
the duck hunting club. So you had
Before my time, but yes.
yeah. So you had guys that could hunt down there, and then guys that can come up and hunt other places. So you had there was more opportunity, I think. And now you shove everybody into 40-some blinds, and they're not moving. The blinds they're overhunted, if you ask me. I mean, you're hunting the same blinds every single weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I grew up, when I first started hunting out there, and it might have been right around the time when I started coming out, but when my dad was younger, you didn't pick blinds back in the day. You went out, you checked in, and you went out and you hunted wherever you hunted. But guys got together and worked together. Now, even though you have such certain blinds that you have to be in, nobody works together anymore, man. When I grew up, the guys that were out there, I grew up with the Jack Doyles of the world. Steve Windish, Tracy Hammonds. Tracy Hammond's still out there. Some of the older guys, and they'll tell you, man, it's a different ball game now. It's a much different ball game. Guys aren't out there hunting anymore. They're out there shooting.
Do you think it's more quantity of guys or just lower quality?
It's lower quality for sure. Guys are seeing it on TV and they want to get out there and they want to get out there and shoot something. There's a difference between a hunter and a shooter. A guy that's going out there just to shoot at something and say he killed something compared to a hunter. I'll go out there and sit. I'll watch birds work all day long without shooting a bird. It's fine with me. I don't have to shoot at anything. Most of the guys out there now, they want to brag. And bragging doesn't win the game. Bragging doesn't win.
And they don't know what they're doing, right? So they come out, they come out, no waders, no dog, no decoys. They just go sit in the blind and go to shoot at something, and then anything that moves, they shoot at. So I've had a couple times where the game warden's called and hey, I know you're hunting over here. We were missing swans or something like that.
Three, now we have one.
3 swans went out, 2 came back, type deal, right? And I'm like, well, I would check this blind because they were shooting at anything that moved. Mm-hmm. I watched those blackbirds that are out there. Mm-hmm. I watched somebody shoot into a flock of those as I was walking out. And so it's just, I think it was bad. Duck Dynasty made it bad because everybody wants to be a duck hunter because of Duck Dynasty. But then COVID just exacerbated it because
it definitely made it worse.
Everybody wanted. I've seen Wednesdays that look like Saturdays used to be.
Oh yeah.
And so it just makes it tough. And then the birds, they're getting shot at from the same exact spot. That's a bad part about having set blinds is those shots are coming from the same blinds every time. And there's a couple blinds that everybody thinks are the best blinds. Well, you can make any blind decent if people will let ducks work.
If you hunt it.
And
hey,
so,
what do you think the most popular blind this year was?
The most popular blind?
Yeah, you say it, and then I'll tell you what I think it was. Everybody picked it first choice.
You're probably talking about 4 and 5.
4. 5 wasn't because I had a big bull rush. But
yeah.
4.
4 was pretty hot this year, but it's been
2 years back. It was 11.
11, then 40. 40 is usually kind of one of the
that was a popular one.
And I like 36 because it's a little hole, but you usually get ducks in there, even if you have every other idiot in the world hunting around you.
Well, they're trying to get in that corner and get away from them.
Exactly, and you're backed up right into the river, right? So you're gonna get those stray birds coming from it, but you're not gonna go out there and shoot limits for 4-man limits out of that hole.
No,
but
not often.
But
not often, no.
But
you'll get your 1 or 2.
You get 1 or 2,
and they could work in that hole. That's why Brian likes it. He likes 1 or 2, and that's it.
I like whatever blind I can stay away from certain people, and that's the blind that I like.
Yeah,
we got a few limits this year of pintail.
Did you, man?
Pintail, I like that. That's like I told Ron. So
limit's a limit.
So closer, I told Ron, I'm like, I go, yeah, I got limits. He's like, you guys know I got limits? I go, yeah, I do. I got swan limits right now. And that is part of it. I think as you mature as a hunter, and not everybody, but for me, most people you see that mature as a hunter, it's no longer about harvesting, 15, 20 birds, in a weekend. It's about, getting an opportunity to go out and hunt and actually using the skill of actually being a real hunter. Get them down here to decoys, watching them work, watching the dogs work. I would much rather at this point watch somebody else shoot a bird that's never shot a bird before than take the shot, right? So you're kind of the same as us. You can guarantee you took somebody out in the blind with you that was brand new. You'd have 2 shots on a bird before they even get up with a gun.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple buddies that I take out, and my son will tell you the same thing. There's plenty of times I'll call the shot, I'll just let them shoot. I'd like to see them harvest something. You know what I mean? Get a couple shots, and that makes my day. I don't have to shoot a bird today.
Hey, but how agonizing is that when they don't pop up fast enough?
That's when I'll pop up. I'll teach you a lesson real quick.
Exactly.
I'll teach you an old school lesson real quick. If you ain't fast enough, I am.
How fast is Blake?
He's pretty good. He's getting good in his young age.
Yeah, how old are you now, Blake?
13.
Okay, and so this is what youth duck hunt is this for you? Is this gonna be your 3rd, 4th?
His youth duck hunt?
Yeah.
He's been going out youth duck hunting since he was 6.
Okay, well we can't count then. I got past 10 and I'm done.
So
I got shoes on.
You guys
got
hunt.
pictures of him 6 years old with geese.
Do you?
Well, you gotta put him in the decoys for that.
What were you shooting?
Yeah.
What was he shooting at 6 years old? A 20 gauge or 410, or did you have him on?
I did have a 20 gauge for him. He's hunted with my father a couple times, and they used a 12 gauge. But he's helping him. He's helping him mount the gun and everything else. So, I mean, you only get 1 shot at that point. So you put him on the ground, you squeeze the trigger 1 time, pray.
Well, I know there's some changes that are proposed with NDOW with the youth hunt. So their proposals to take the opener weekend and take the Sunday hunt away. So I think we're gonna fight that one pretty hard because there's no reason to take a hunt away. And I think you guys usually try to hunt that Sunday, don't you?
We try to hunt both youth hunts, and we usually do pretty darn good, on both of them.
Well, and that's the thing is they're saying it's just low usage, but my thing is get the kids excited. If there's kids that are going to only be able to hunt Sunday or want to hunt Saturday and Sunday, they should have the opportunity.
Well, yeah, and coming up, growing up out there, I remember when I'm pretty sure they took it away from us for the youth hunt. We used to have a 2-week goose season where it was just goose, and then it went to duck season. And I'm pretty sure that's what they took away from us to give the youth the hunt, which is absolutely fine. But now you're trying to take away from them. They already have low opportunity as it is. Most of these parents, it's sad to say a lot of the parents are taking their kids out, but they're not giving them an opportunity. It's just not happening. You got to have multiple times for them to get out and be the center of attention. And now trying to take it away from them, that doesn't help anybody.
Well, not only that, the opening and closer, those I know historically from what I've done. I've only done it for a few years, but you have a lot more ducks. The kids have a lot more opportunities. Birds aren't like gun shy at that point either. So you're not taking a youth out on an adult hunt, which is typically harder. I mean, the ducks come in on an adult hunt and they're out again. With these youth hunts, those ducks come in and they'll sit there and let the kids stand up super slow and try to shoot at it.
Oh yeah, they give them a little bit more, especially early in the season when there are birds there. I know some years it's been tough, but
this year opener was tough. Youth opener was really, really tough.
I wasn't here. I was out of town, so we didn't get done it this year.
So and it was like I think a couple kids took multiple birds, but most kids shot nothing and didn't even see a bird.
But those birds they were shooting at weren't gun shy.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about the youth hunt is you got fresh birds at the beginning of the season. You've given them a 2-week break at the end of the season. But the best part is you take a kid out to Overton in the middle of the general hunt. Now you got every idiot and their brother out there sky busting, not letting birds work. So the kids are getting fewer and fewer opportunities to be able to harvest a bird because it just becomes more and more difficult. During that youth hunt, you still have some of the same stuff because those dads that are part of the problem are bringing their kids out, but at the same time, you can space your kids out enough and you can generally get away from the crowd, right? So it gives them that opportunity to let the birds work and see how it's done right. And so if you're going to teach your kid and you want to teach them right, you can get away from the crowd and actually teach them how to do it the right way. And so then they learn at the beginning what's good to shoot at and what's bad to shoot at. So I think really what happens is these guys get out there and, they go and they're used to hunting deer. And so they take a 400-yard shot on a deer, and that's not a bad shot. And they can't judge distance with ducks at all. So,
I think a lot of the thing with the new hunters now is a lot of them they don't want to learn. And I have spoken to some of the guys out there. You speak to them, and you just try to get a feel for them, what they're doing. They're out there to shoot, and it's sad to say some of them they don't want to learn. They're out there to shoot, to say they killed something and go on their way, and it makes it hard. It makes it hard for the old guys, the guys that have been out there, the guys that want to hunt, the guys that want to go out there and do it right. I enjoy sitting in a blind, and if you're sitting next to me in a blind and got birds working, I enjoy watching you guys kill birds. A lot of times when you hear me yelling out there or saying something to somebody, you screwed yourself. You didn't screw me. It's upsetting. It's very, I take it personal. It really hurts me, to watch you have birds that are coming in and doing it right, and you take them early, or you end up crippling birds, or you miss them, and then you don't give anybody else on the project an opportunity at those birds. It hurts. It really hurts.
It's almost like having a ball on a basketball game. You have like a way open shot. Instead you just throw it in the crowd.
The best thing my dad's probably taught me is that watching the birds work. When we were working those geese, it was probably the best thing I'd seen all season. Watching them work, head back, legs locked and ready to land. That was probably the best thing I'd seen all season. And watching people land birds. My dad taught me that landing birds is probably the beautifulest thing you'll see hunting.
Well, you know what happens when you land a bird?
It's unethical.
But when you
incorrect answer.
But when you bring a bird in and you're landing a bird, that means you did your job as a hunter, right? So your whole idea is to trick them into thinking that there's real birds down there, and then that's a safe place for them to be. So you got to outsmart that bird. So that's what's so cool about working a bird and getting a bird in your decoys. Is you've actually done your job. You sky bust me and you drop a bird, you didn't do your job. You got lucky, right? So that golden BB got lucky. And what I like about the way you guys do it is you'll adjust your hunt. So I won't tell everybody how you adjust your hunt, but you'll adjust your hunt so you can stack the cards in your favor. And then you harvest birds when nobody else is harvesting birds because they don't want to hunt right.
It's part of doing homework, being patient, and I've got a good family. My father's out there more than anybody. Just goes out there and watches the birds, see what the birds are doing, and we all talk and help each other out. Especially when we hunt close to each other, you'll see a lot of times if we have bulrushes or we have ponds or if we have fields, we're going to hunt next to each other if we can because we know that's just that much more space and that much more opportunity. If we get something in between us, somebody's going to kill it.
That's what I talk about. Like there's nothing that trumps experience, right? And you've got 4 generations of experience on that WMA. And so these new guys that come out one hunt, then they're jealous because the Hauts are dropping geese. Well, you don't understand the countless, you can't even equate how many hours you guys have spent out there hunting and how many unsuccessful hunts you've had. And like how much, like, I'm sure you got horror stories about falling in the water and being wet and flat tires and missing ducks and wet guns
bad
and
wheels on carts.
broken bones, like that's all the payment you have made to be successful. And so for a guy to come out the first time, see you shooting ducks, get jealous, and start sky busting and ruin your hunt, he's in the red at that point as far as it comes to experience and having like the ability to harvest good ducks. Me and Brian have been out on several hunts where we don't shoot anything. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, I guess we just paid the piper today. We have the experience. We won't make the same mistake again,
I've been on many a frustrating hunts. I've been on many hunts where I've left after an hour. I've been on many hunts where I've sat out there all day long, don't shoot a bird, or whether it was missing too many times or just, frustration beyond frustration, I've had plenty of those hunts, but I've also had plenty of hunts where I've been out there and we've limited out in the first 45 minutes of the day. We've sat all day long. We've limited out on ducks and shot a couple geese and sat in the field and landed ducks the rest of the afternoon just to sit there and watch them. I've had some phenomenal hunts out there. My family's had some great hunts out there. I've known plenty of people to have just amazing hunts out there.
What I've experienced
Blake has something real quick. Go ahead, Blake.
You won't understand how many times my dad's complained about water being in his boots, and you can hear it sloshing around in his boots, and you tell him
that was Ron on closer.
Patch it, and he's like, no, he'll survive through the season. And
Exactly.
Then uses it next
Yeah.
year.
How could I live this out through the rest of the season?
He uses it next year and complains about it the entire season next year. Yeah.
Right.
Well, if he don't have water in his boots, he's going to complain about,
And that's what I've noticed is about out there is if you can get in with the right guys and you can be an ethical hunter, we end up kind of making our own little group, right? So there'll be text messages back and forth and how you guys doing over there? Hey, what's going on over there? So then you can
The green game warden's walking around.
yeah. Well, the game warden's on the hill. That's as soon as you park up on the hill, every phone in the preserve I think rings. But it's great because not only are you kind of checking in with each other and seeing how everybody's doing, but you also are knowing you have that network, so you know where ducks are working different times because you can't be everywhere at once and you can't see everything at once. So it's nice to be able to have that and say, okay, the birds are working over here, and you kind of put that together throughout the season. But it's those relationships that you build by doing things the right way. I had early in the season, Fairbairn called me and said, hey, I want to come out in the afternoon. Where would you go? And I'm like, I'd stay home because there ain't a bird in the sky.
He's giving me those phone calls, and I've told him it's too far of a drive.
Yeah.
Too far of a drive.
But it's when you can do that and you have guys working as a team, everybody gets to be a little bit more successful, and we have better hunts. And so we're big on kind of looking at the table and like, oh, well, you guys are over there. We're not going to crowd you, but we're going to try to get somewhere where we can put ourselves set up to a good spot to where you guys are the ones that are going to be closest to us, and I'm not having to deal with somebody else, right?
So, Howard, what are since you've had so many generations of hunters out there in Overton, what's something? How have you kept that in the family? How have you kept the kids wanting to go out and hunt, man?
Oh, well,
What's the trick?
Getting them out early. Getting them out early and being successful. Obviously, success is going to create a niche, but just getting them out early and getting them excited about it. Like I said, I've been going out since as far back as I can remember. Hell, I remember having hunts out there where I didn't get out of the car till 9 o'clock in the morning because Dad leave the keys for me so I keep the heater on. I walk out to the blind when it gets warm because I was cold.
Hey, Ron,
right?
keep that note.
Yeah, right. But, I've been going out since I could walk. My dad made it exciting for me and created a love for it. Just not only bonding with family, but being out there and enjoying what was going on. And learning about nature and learning about what's going on out there and learning to love it. I've had him out there since hell, I've got pictures. I think he's 5, 6 years old, wrapped up in my jacket, sitting in the corner at 35. I mean, I've got plenty of pictures. And get him out there and just get him excited about it. Don't make it enjoyable for him. Make it as comfortable as possible, and they'll learn to love it. And if they don't love it, my daughter, she's been going out since she was 5, 6 years old. She doesn't care too much for it, and she'll tell me. But she'll go out. If I want her to go out, she'll go out. She just doesn't care for it.
And that's mine. I have my one son. He's 16, actually 17 now. He doesn't hunt at all, and we went on a duck hunt, and Cody loved it. Cody, he wanted to hunt all the time.
That was his first hunt. He's hooked him.
Yeah, so Cash, we take Cash out on that same hunt, and I'm like, so you want to hunt again, Cash? He said, not if I got to get up that early. So that's just not his thing, and it's okay. But we got to build that excitement in the kids that are open to it, and so as parents, it's a big thing to do, and we're lucky enough through the podcast, we've had some friends come through the podcast, and John Scalen's going to take some kids out again. He's now taken the twins out 3 times.
Does the skeet shooters?
Yes, yeah.
I talked. He was down in 36. We were hollering back and forth one of the last days.
Yeah, so
Good things or bad things?
Oh, we were hollering good things.
Okay.
So
I know Scotland.
It's one of the two.
So he's willing to take those kids out, and so those kids, their dad, they live in Pahrump, and their dad's like, his wife is threatened if he takes up duck hunting, she's going to kill somebody, so he doesn't need another hobby. And now this year it was now we got to get him out hunting, and she goes, well, we got to get a duck dog first. And I'm like, I know people, we can make that happen. And I'm like, last year you threatened to kill me, so we're making progress.
Yeah,
but
right?
But it's about making it fun for the kids, making it an enjoyable thing. We all developed a love for it because somebody took us out and got us excited about it. So with the kids, one thing that I see is sometimes as dads, we get our kids out there, and man, it's you want the kids to be successful, so you can be pretty hard on those kids, but you got to make sure that it's an enjoyable time for them. If they're cold,
warm them up, bring a heater, extra jacket.
Figure it out. Yeah, bring a little
Hot
buddy,
hands.
hot hands. Extra jackets. Make sure they got good thermals and stuff. Just if they're comfortable, they're not going to be miserable for the most part. And then you know what, my kid Cody, he'll get there and he'll start getting bored halfway through the morning. He was 17 last year, and we're like, dude, just get on TikTok or something and do that if you want for a little bit, and that's fine. But he enjoys the hunt, and so otherwise he's not coming out at all. So he's got a passion for that whole hunting thing, and you got to breed it a little bit. So you gotta nurture it. And so we got to watch the kids and make sure they're having a good time, and celebrate when they do harvest and do things good. I know you're big on that. You're posting about the boy all the time.
I really enjoy taking him out especially when he kills something. I let everybody know. They said it's harder nowadays because the lack of birds, and the lack of success. When I came up, like I said, it didn't matter where you were at, you were killing birds. So the success rate was high. It was up there. It got me excited, got me wanting more. Nowadays, it's a little bit harder. So when he does kill something, when I do put birds in the decoys and he has an opportunity, I try to, make it exciting for him, and show him that I love watching it. I mean, it's one of my favorite things. When he dropped, those couple geese in the bee this year, man, the adrenaline rush that I got out of just watching him kill birds, it was exciting.
No, that makes sense. You know what I think the biggest trick to having kids out there in the blind with you is? Gas station treats, man. That is
Donuts.
a key
Donuts.
factor to having kids out there. I mean, my kids wake up with me. I think they only wake up with me to go get the gas station food.
And then when we're on the boat, I'll bring snacks with me, and I'll usually forget to take them on the boat. And his kids are like, "Whew, Brian's been here."
Yeah.
Hey,
Brian-
Blake, what'd you have to say, buddy?
Probably what hooked me onto hunting was the father-son bonding and just getting the feel of getting the birds. It was that sort of adrenaline that was awesome. And I'd only come out because in the morning I'd sleep or be cold, so I'd sit next to the heater. I wouldn't pay attention to the birds, but in midday I'd be looking for birds. Any sound I heard of like geese or ducks, I'd tell Dad. Even if they were still landed, I just heard them. I'd tell Dad. What hooked me on was the father-son bonding and being able to actually get the feel of shooting the birds. You get to walk around, explore, learn about the blinds, hear the stories he has, and probably one of the biggest things he complains about, other than his wet foot when he's using the waders, It's how the BBs will shoot around the birds and they'll fly away. There's this,
Dude, he just called you out, Howard.
Hey, yeah, they get, when they land, they get that barrier around them.
there's this double of canvasbacks. I think it was a male and a hen. I was watching behind us. All of a sudden, plop, 2 canvasbacks, male and a hen, right there in front of me. I'm not moving. I'm like, Dad, get up. Slowly move over here and shoot these birds. I couldn't tell what they were, but after he shot, I'm like, so Dad.
They're still alive.
And he said they were canvasbacks.
They're still canvasbacks.
They have baby canvasbacks now.
What kind of choke do you have in your gun?
Well, I just bought a new gun, so I'm just shooting them factory modified.
Okay.
I mean, I was shooting Carlson choke tubes for a while, but like I said, I just purchased a new gun, so I haven't put any.
What new gun did you get?
An A5.
Okay, nice.
I spent a little money finally on myself after
Doing
20
big
years,
balling.
25 years.
Big balling.
He's tired of
Man, I'll
missing.
tell you,
he's tired of missing.
We looked at those retays at SHOT Show this year, and we cycled Ron for sure cycled every shotgun, I think, on the floor of that show.
I fondled every gun in that room.
Man, that retay is hands down a superior gun to everything else. It's so much smoother. Some of their stuff that they got built into it. It was a great gun. I want to get my hands on one just to see how it functions. But I mean, it was so smooth. Everything about that gun was smooth, and they've done all the extra work to it. They've got the lengthened force cone and all that stuff in it. It comes from the factory. So, and they're a bargain. And that's the thing is, there's so many options. There's guys that are, I'm going to only shoot an A5. There's guys that I'll never shoot anything but a Benelli. And then there's guys that, hey, I got my Walmart Hatfield special. And
Shit, I was an
it does
870
just
guy
fine.
for years. $300 back in the day, forever.
Cody
Forever,
shoots an
ever.
870 to this day. He shoots an 870 Magnum.
It's old trusty right there.
But he got a 30-inch Hastings barrel on it when he bought it too. So, but and that's a joke. Is I'm like, hey Cody, you don't even need to shoot. You just reach out and smack that bird in the head with that dang thing.
You throw your gun at it. That's what I was gonna say. Like, get with me after the show. Let me get you some kicks for your gun.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to do that for you.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, because we've noticed a difference. Me and Brian both switched to kicks, and God, you put it right through their chest, man. They don't get back up as long as you hit them.
Well, and
Besides the inside 20 yards, anything outside?
and the great thing about the kicks chokes.
Well,
is
I'll
that-
put it extra full, and you go Overton on them.
And the funny thing is, like most chokes, you're looking at a full, and they say you can't shoot anything beside, smaller or bigger than, a 2. With the kicks chokes, since the material they're built out of, you can shoot an extra full with double Bs. You can shoot triple Bs out of a full.
Oh, really?
So they're built sturdier. They're made to hold up. I saw a thing the other day about guys splitting chokes out, shooting steel, and everybody was posting was Carlson, and some guys said, well, any choke's going to split. I'm like, a well-built choke's not going to split, and they're designed specifically for that purpose, So
They pull the wad off while you're shooting. They're vented, so they pull the wad off while you're shooting, so it keeps your pattern tighter. Like I we've noticed a difference this year. I hit more ducks, and those late season canvasback, they have like a little Kevlar in them. Like you hit them,
What I
and
just
they
told you.
will
We just
fly
told you.
away. Those late season canvasback do, man.
They
You
got
you
flak
can't shoot
jackets
fours
on.
late season in Nevada. I don't think you can.
The only thing I shoot is what I've shot the last couple of years is I've shot nothing but threes, from 3.5 inches, 3-inch threes. But I mean, this year I switched over to that Migra shot, so it's that 2s and 3s, that stack load, and that actually did pretty well for me.
What shot was that?
The Migra,
Migra.
it's a 2 and 3 stack load, 2 and 3 shot stack load. It did pretty good for me. I mean, I definitely liked it. I definitely liked what it did.
I shoot 2s, and that's pretty just all seeing. You can take anything with 2s. I mean,
Yeah.
so I shoot 2s, but we looked at we were talking to the guys from heavy steel, heavy shot, and they've got that new heavy 12, that their tungsten stack load.
Yeah, that's them. Every time you pull a trigger, you got
it's $5 bill, $5 bill. Yeah,
I tell you, it's cheaper to go to the strip club because you're throwing ones up there every single time you shoot that gun.
the funny part is I was like, dude, steel will do just fine, and for most stuff, steel will do just fine. I got some business. We went up north last year, and so I got some just for that trip. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be a good trip. We were hunting the rubies, opening at the rubies. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna buy some good ammo. I will tell you that bismuth flat out drops ducks.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
When we grew up, we used to. I do remember shooting bismuth, and maybe it was tungsten. But when I grew up, that's what we shot for geese. I remember pounding the hell out of them. But back then it was also
Yeah.
a quarter of the price.
I mean, it folds
Yeah,
them and drops them
true.
pretty quick, but man, it's just even the cheap stuff. So you got the cool thing about the heavy hammer, heavy
I've
metal.
shot all that.
So that heavy hammer is 15%. So it used to be fairly reasonable. Now you're looking at $40 a box because everything's ridiculous.
Everything's to the roof.
And for me, I like shooting the Remington Hypersonic. Just because it's 1,750 foot per second, I don't have to lead ducks, right? So it's on the duck before.
Well, when you're shooting steel, speed kills.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody has their own. The stack loads are kind of nice because it kind of fans and you drop pellets out sooner, and pellets are going to go longer. So you got a better pattern early in your shot and later in your shot as well. So it is really about. I think everything's about preference and what your gun does with it too.
It's preference too, but I am a firm believer, and I don't care what you're shooting if you get them in close. I mean, if you get them in close, it doesn't matter what you're shooting. I mean, and now I can say I have hit birds, at 10 feet, 15 feet, and knocked the hell out of them, watched them fly away. They don't know they're dead yet. They're dead. They just don't know they're dead yet. I've done it. So I can't say you're not going to cripple birds in close, but I'm a firm believer in if you get them in close, it don't really matter what you're shooting. I mean, I know guys that shoot 410s, back east, and I know a guy who shoots 410s of geese. He gets them in close.
Benny and Jesse
Shoots them in the head.
I can show you pictures. I can show you videos.
Benny and Jesse,
geese.
that's what they shoot. They shoot 410s.
Yeah,
That's
they're shooting
all they
at
shoot.
TSS. They're shooting
Yeah,
at
they're
TSS stuff.
But still, a TSS.
I've heard that hits like a truck.
Yeah, it's just it's a tungsten blend, so it's like 10 times heavier than steel. So you're gonna just have that inertia that carries through. But I mean, their thing is too. They're getting them in the decoys, right?
Yeah.
So you got a 410. You're not going to hit a 70-yard shot with a 410.
Oh, absolutely not.
And so it's just about developing the skill. And what we're seeing in the hunting world, in the duck hunting industry, is a lot of the guys are backing down to a 20 gauge, and they're shooting nothing but a 20 gauge because a 20 gauge in close is going to be a pretty deadly gun. And so it really is about knowing your gun and hunting the proper way. And if we can do that, you're gonna harvest a lot more birds. Everybody's gonna be happier. And then it is. We talk about it all the time. We had a hunt this year. We had 30 or 40 teal come right into us. I mean, into our decoys, just locked up, stalled out, and we let into them. And there were 3 of us, and not a single bird hit the water.
I've had those. I've done that.
And so, but we all know what we did. None of us took a bird because none of us looked at an actual bird. We looked at the flock and said, "Well, here we go." And it's hard because you don't want to everybody's,
Man, your adrenaline's going so fast when you have a flock of like 50 birds
well,
come
and
in. It's like just a freight train. And then you're like, oh, pick one. And you're like, no, I can't miss. And they all fly away. You're like, I should have picked one at least.
I still have a hard time. Like I said, I've been hunting over 30 years. I still have a hard time picking a bird out of a flock. I still do. Like you said, the adrenaline rush. You get up and just want to squeeze the trigger.
Well, the other
It's
thing
difficult.
is how do you pick which bird you're going to shoot, right? So you got 3 guys shooting, and then if you all pick a bird, guess what? You're going to pick the same damn bird.
And me and Brian both got ADD, so we can't focus on one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes it rough.
Especially when it comes to teal. The second that you pull up and they all do, the 17 different directions.
Yeah. They're not like buffaloes. Buffaloes, you shoot at them, and like 30 seconds later, they're coming right back at you. It's
Well,
like,
buffaloes, you'll shoot and they'll stay the same trajectory. You're like, I've got to lead a little more. That's the best thing about buffaloes. So tell us, you won the gun last year for the youth duck hunt. Have you shot that this year yet?
A lot. I went to the river one time and I got told not to put it on the dirt, and I thought I would be fine because I left the barrel off the sand, but I didn't leave the
action.
Yeah, action, and leave the action off of the sand, and now my dad has to take it apart and clean it, and hopefully he'll do that before the youth
I've got to tear it apart this week. It's probably got a pound of sand in it.
Depends on how many chores you get done. And that's the hardest part. The worst thing you can do in our area is go down to the river and put your gun on the ground, or dump it in the water.
Or just period, have it by the river.
It's gonna pack up with sand.
If it's near the river, you're gonna get sand.
yeah.
There is nothing you could do. And if you're trying to sneak shoot, it's over. Just give up.
Yeah, that's it.
Like bring a can of oil with you because you're gonna have to spray it every single time you shoot.
That sand is nasty over there, and it's fine enough. It gets everywhere, and so it's a chore.
Yeah,
So
every time I've gone over there, if I didn't tear my gun apart afterwards, I had problems with it the next hunt every single time.
yeah.
Okay, so you've shot at a lot this year. How do you like those Armscore guns?
It's really comfortable. I can actually aim and fire with it. The kick isn't as hard as it was when I was younger. It's a really nice gun.
And it's a camo pattern one then, 12 gauge?
Yeah, I think it's the timber camo.
Timber camo. Yeah,
Man,
and you're not going to win it this year again, please, right?
Sean just
We'll
does.
sell it right away.
Sean over there at Arms Core Rock On Armory just does right by these kids every single year. So it started with a youth opener, and then last year the first year we did a closer.
Last year's the first year we did.
So last year we did a closer, but we didn't do an opener. We couldn't give away anything in an opener. So Sean
remember
stepped
that,
up
though.
and gave the gun as a closer, and then this year he did an opener. And he gave the gun for the opener for the kids, and he does another one for the closer for him as well. So, he's giving away 2 guns this year to these kids, and it's all about making sure these kids, get excited about hunting.
Nice.
And that's a cool thing about, Ron and I kind of started championing that youth duck hunt movement just because it's important. And then last year with the duck call contest, with Ruben putting that on for the first year. And
What did you think about that, Blake?
I was nervous and I didn't perform good because I had only been practicing while I was going there. I practiced a little bit the day before, but most of the practicing was while we were driving there, and Dad was telling me what I should do, how I should call, how it works as we were driving there.
Yeah, he's young. Young doesn't want to put a call in his mouth yet too often.
I'll tell you what, man.
I got
My
a dad
kids,
to do it
my
for
kids have
me.
been hauling around the house for last week. They sound like kazoos in clowns' mouths.
probably
but
sounds like opener
they're ready
at
to
Overton
go,
this year.
man. They're ready to go.
That is the worst duck calling I ever heard was this year at Overton opener, man. And the guy next to us blew for a solid 2 hours.
It's pipes on him,
There was a
man.
guy growing up. I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, he wasn't the greatest caller in the world. I mean, it was pretty bad. He killed ducks. I can't say nothing about him. The man killed ducks. What he's supposed to do, he's
Maybe
killing
the
them.
ducks were coming over to laugh.
I figured, everybody sounds too good. This sounds like a duck. Hey, look at over there.
No, and that's what it gets us excited to see the kids. That this year for opener we didn't have a duck call contest because it wasn't our gig, and kids were like, "Well, what happened to the duck call contest?" And so, we decided we're bringing it back this year for the closer, and we'll just keep that a yearly tradition.
We're
And
making it a little bigger this year. What did we buy, Brian?
so for the duck call contest for our senior kids, so we're going to do kind of like an open and then a kind of beginner
They
contest.
could choose to be in the senior or the junior. Their
so,
choice.
So it's their choice, and wherever you think you fit. But for the seniors, we went ahead and bought a gun, so we'll give a second gun away for the duck call contest this year, and then we're figuring something out for the
It's a used Hatfield
junior.
410 break. So
so to give them
Single
something.
shot.
I mean, yeah, it's not the greatest in the world, but it's another gun. It's something for them to work with and play with, even if it's just going out and practice. And
I'll tell you what,
Just wanna have
410s
fun.
are
Shooting.
just tons of fun, man. If you go out hunting and have a 410 where your dad's like mule deer hunting, that's a fun gun to carry around. It's light, and you can the ammo's cheap, and you can just pop rabbits.
the ammo's
If you
not
can
so
find the
cheap
ammo.
either.
If you
Yeah,
can find the ammo.
yeah, you
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
find it. The
Well, I
ammo's
guess
not
that's
cheap
true.
anymore.
The 410 ammo's not cheap.
No.
Oh no, ammo in general is not cheap anymore.
It's still not as expensive as 12
Well,
gauge.
it's funny because last year I paid $100 a case for some Rio. Ron bought the same.
I remember buying $110.
Ron bought the same case this year for $180. So
And that was the deal. That was cheaper ammo.
That was the cheapest ammo you could get. So
Yeah, I think it's the Winchester Experts my dad buys every year. He spends something like $120, $130, and I think they got them for $200 this year. Ridiculous. They're taking advantage of it. Whatever. Eventually the shelves will get full again and prices will come back down.
when I love that Hypersonic, and I was trying to buy some this year. I found one case for $590. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, I haven't spent less than $300 a case yet.
What you got, Blake?
Probably the best thing for me about the youth hunt,
Donuts.
the donuts.
That's Ron's favorite part too.
all
He
he
eats
wants to
half of them
know.
before he gets there.
That's all he wants to
What
know.
kind
is
of
on
donuts we
the
getting
inside
this
is
year,
gonna be
Blake?
donuts.
I don't know.
You don't care. You're not a
I like-
picky donut guy.
The only thing I'm picky about is the jelly filled donuts. Those are the best.
Okay. Oh, so you just want jelly-filled donuts in general?
That'd
It
be
doesn't matter where I get them from.
He's been worried about these donuts for 2 weeks now. So
Listen, we're gonna have donuts. I just need to know what kind you want.
Jelly
You
filled.
want Krispy Kreme? You want Friendlies? You want Pink Box? I can't afford Pink Box, but
Sure you can. I heard you. You got all the money in the world.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, but no, my kid Aiden, about this tall, about this wide. He's my 6-year-old. Before Christmas, he wasn't asking me about Christmas. He says, "Hey, Dad, when's the duck closer? When's the duck closer? Are we gonna have donuts? When's the duck closer, Dad? We gonna have donuts?" I'm like, "Man, Christmas is coming around. Why are you asking about duck closer, man?
That's funny.
You gonna have hot chocolate, Dad?"
That's all they're worried about.
See, we don't do things without donuts. I mean, you got to have donuts if it's a morning thing. We actually went on a scout trip. Ron and I were scout leaders, and Ron had his son with him, and his son wasn't old enough to be in that group, but he was there on a camp out with us.
He was like 8.
Ron bought donuts for breakfast in the morning. And so he says, "Watch this." And so he poured a little bit of gasoline on the empty box and comes over and like trips and throws it in the fire. And Mitchell just looks at him and goes, "Why would you do that?"
Don't mess with those kids' donuts.
Yeah, man. Don't mess with their donuts. We're also going to have a hot chocolate bar with whipped cream and sprinkles, too. So you can make your Starbucks coffee or cup before you go, man. So it's going to be pretty fun.
Ron likes sprinkles because they go with his Crocs.
Yeah, man.
It does sound like there's going to be a decent amount of kids out there. I've talked to a few people. It sounds like there's going to be a decent amount out there.
We're excited. Our goal is to...
It's changed since you were a kid, right? In the youth opener. Like, I remember when I first went to my youth opener, there's like maybe 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah, like I said, growing up, I barely remember my hunts. For that, I hunted all year long, so it kind of blends together. But I don't remember there being a lot of kids out there. I remember being just a handful of kids. 2 or 3 kids. The same families. All the same families.
Yeah.
The diehards. Now we're getting kids that are first-time kids. We're getting kids that are, they hunt twice a year, and it's opener and closer maybe. And so
Yes.
The good thing is we're really starting to promote it. And so our goal is to actually fill that place up and give these kids a day. And that's where our heartburn is right now, is trying to take a day away from these kids. We're trying to grow it, and then you want to take stuff away, because eventually we'd like to grow it to where you may have to make a reservation. We split a Saturday and Sunday, and some kids are going to hunt Saturday and some kids are going to hunt Sunday, just because the opportunity, you're going to have the opportunity, right? So,
well, they're arguing that it's not use, but it's not all about the use. It's about the opportunity. Maybe Howard could take his kid out on Saturday, but he can't take him out on Sunday, or vice versa. And so now you're taking that opportunity away from the kid that might potentially have the chance to hunt. Now they've taken that away from the kid, and they want to take that and give it to an adult. And the adults don't hunt right anyways on normal adult day, so I don't think they really deserve it back.
That's the problem. Like I said, early in the season, the birds are few and far between. Like I said, they may not be gun shy, but there are a few birds around. So give the kids opportunity at them. Step back, take your kid out, teach your kid something. Let them go out there and have their opportunity, because as well as I do, that come regular season, when them birds come in, you're not thinking about him. You're jumping up just as fast or faster to pull the trigger before he does. I do it. I'm bad at it sometimes. We all do it. But during the season, you're thinking about yourself. Give the kids their opportunity.
yeah, they don't give much. We don't, and they're trying to change it. All the regulations for kids are trying to make it to where a youth tag, you can only pull the youth tag till you're 16.
You can only pull one season.
So no, you can pull 4. So right now you put in for 6 seasons total. You can pull 5 out of 6. So you can't pull 6 tags.
I'm talking about like they're trying to make it either archery or muzzle.
Oh,
loading.
yeah.
I heard you guys talking about that the other day, and see, like you said, it's taking opportunity away. They already split it. The kids used to get all early and late season.
Yeah.
Kids used to get the whole thing. Now they split it into an early and late season, which whatever, I can get over that. But then now you're trying to tell them that they can't, have as much opportunity as absolute possible. For some people, that's what they need. They need as much opportunity as possible. Get out there and get them to harvest. You take them out there, 1, maybe 2 years, a young kid, and he doesn't harvest, it's going to break his, it's going to break his heart. These kids are going to lose the itch. They need to be able to get out there and harvest an animal, or at least have an opportunity to, and give them as much opportunity as possible.
And where I have the heartburn with that part is you stop it at 16, right? So how many young men only start to hunt because their friend's hunting, and their parents were finally comfortable enough at 16 to let them go with somebody else to go hunt. So now you've taken that opportunity for them to draw tags away from them at 16. So they have 2 years where they could have hunted, and now they can't because
and you're dropping them into the pool with the adults that's already overflowing.
And so I've been 6 years without drawing a
turds
single
floating
tag.
around in it.
It's been 3 for us. We're going on 4.
And the only saving grace was I had Cody, and so Cody would draw a youth tag almost every year. So we still got to hunt. And then if not, I was with Ron. We had other kids going out. But you start taking those opportunities away from the kids, and they're not going to get that bug, and that's part of it's. Hunting is not something that you get the bug watching it on TV.
Oh no.
So you got to be there.
Looks exciting on TV, but when you go out and do it and you don't harvest and you don't have the success that you see on TV, because TV's fake. I mean, everybody knows them guys are hunting on private land. They're hunting, they're hunting on the X. We don't always hunt on the X. If you can get them out there and get them to harvest, that's how you get them to grow the love for the sport. They see it on TV, they see all the success. You take them out and they don't have that success. You got to have more opportunity to be able to get out there and get them out and teach them a little more than just harvesting. You got to teach them how to enjoy the hunt outside of harvesting.
And we've been really successful youth hunts just because we'll hunt where other people don't want to, and when other people don't want to. So we have pretty good success, but that's part of it. Is it's just as a parent, it's your job to do the homework to get these kids on animals. So whether it's learning archery, so that's the cool thing about archery is you're the first season, man. You get the first opportunity. They haven't seen humans in almost a year, so they're not as skittish as they were. Then you start getting into other seasons, and sometimes earlier you can go out and get these kids out. The other cool thing is the way the youth hunt was structured is having 3 tag opportunities. So you have archery, muzzleloader, and an open rifle season. You take a kid out, let them try archery, right? And so maybe you don't find anything archery you want. Well, then you go out and try again muzzleloader season. And then finally you can go to rifle season. So they have 3 distinct opportunities. They're totally different types of hunting.
And they're hunting with adults the whole time.
Yeah, and so they're totally different types of hunting, and they're going to find one that they really enjoy probably more than the others, right? So for me, I like muzzleloader. I think muzzleloader is a cool hunt. But they're going to get excited about one of those forms. But if you only allow a kid to draw one tag, well, every kid's going to put in for rifle. You're going to have leftover archery and muzzleloader tags, and none of those kids are going to take those, and they don't ever get to experience any of that either. So it's just I don't know. I think we're going the wrong direction on a lot of things.
Well, anything we take away from the youth is going the wrong direction. I think we need to give more to them. We need to find more opportunity for them. And anything you take away from them, it hurts him. And then he was bummed his first year he applied. He didn't get a tag. What are we supposed to do? He's kind of bummed about it. Now, had he not got it the second year, what is he sitting here thinking? Now I'm thinking, do I got to put him in with the adults? How do I help him out to get him a tag so he's not bummed out? He goes out there and he hunts with me, but if he can't harvest his own animal, he doesn't have the opportunity because he didn't draw a tag again. It hurts him a little bit. It makes him not want to go.
Like more opportunities. They could put him in like a youth cow elk hunt. They could put a youth doe antelope hunt. There's all sorts of other opportunities they could give these kids, and these kids they're not out to shoot the biggest rack for the most part, They just want to harvest an animal and they go home happy,
Well, you could do it pretty simple, right? So the deer hunt, the cool thing about it is you can pull 5 tags right now. So you can get 5 out of the 6 years you're eligible. You can pull a tag for 5 years. But if you did add an elk hunt and a speed goat hunt, if you added those to them, you could make that it's a one-time while you're a youth, right? So you get one tag, and you could spread those tags out, and then kids would get the opportunity to hunt something different. Because the kids, most of the kids' dads, dad is going to go hunt. For right now, for a kid to harvest an antelope, he has the same draw odds as an adult to hunt an antelope because he's got to put in with an adult.
Yep.
And there's guys, there's kids that are lucky. Like Ron's kid pulled a U-tag his very first year putting in. But you're putting in for...
It came in during duck season, so we didn't get it.
You're putting in for elk. You put in for elk, and that you get into the elk season. Well, how many guys are sitting on 5, 6, 7 points for elk? And now you got a kid. He will never have 7 points. And then once he's an adult, he loses all his bonus points. So he's put in 6 years for something that he can't, harvest. So
yeah, anything they take away from the kids, like I said, you've got to give these kids. I think if you don't draw, if you're one of the kids that's unlucky enough not to draw during your youth, I think why not make it the first year as an adult? They draw automatically. Give them the opportunity. Do something for them. Make one of those years as a youth automatic. Something. Give these kids something to look forward to.
But the difference is, as a youth, like between 12 and 18, you have a lot of free time. You have high school. You don't have responsibility with work. You don't have a girlfriend until, I don't know. You might have a girlfriend.
Hunting your girlfriend. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, hunting is your girlfriend. So that being said, when they hit that 18-year-old to 25, you're hustling. You're just trying to survive. You don't really, you might have time to go hunt, but it's not going to be as plentiful as when you're a youth. And if you don't get them hooked on it while they're a youth, and they go into that other period, it's going to be much harder to recruit hunters there. And so they're taking away from the base by not giving youth opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to kill the sport.
It absolutely is. And like I said in my comments before, I think the writing's on the walls. It's already being pushed away. You know what I mean? Endow, as far as I'm concerned, and the things that I've seen over the years, and the support and the lack of support, I think it's being pushed aside.
Yeah, we're losing little by little, and that's why it's so important that we got to fight for it. And they're going to go after the low hanging fruit every time, because you got a lot of guys that could care less whether their kids get an opportunity to hunt, because as long as they draw a tag, they don't care.
Yeah, more opportunities for me. Why would I care?
Yep.
You know, F them kids.
So that's tough when you got that mentality, and unfortunately we see it a lot. It's me first. It's that me first mentality, and as sportsmen, you know, if we don't get our kids involved and we don't get, one of the coolest things we're seeing is wives and girlfriends and stuff getting out and hunting a lot more. That's one of the biggest growing markets. Well, if your wife or your girlfriend's going to go hunting with you, they're going to enjoy it a lot more, and you're going to get more opportunity to go out and hunt. So with these kids, if we can get them early and get them excited, they're going to keep this sport going. If we don't put the kids into this market, the market's going to go away.
Yep.
And we'll have nothing left. So
That's what I tell people about the youth duck hunt. Just going back to that in Overton I think Overton is one of the easiest places to hunt in Nevada. It's a country club. You have preset blinds. Everything's nice gravel roads. You go out there with like a bag of decoys and probably be okay, you know. And you bring your kids out to Ducks and Donuts. They get donuts. They get some hot chocolate. They might win a raffle prize. You know, they get some candy. They walk to the blind. They sit next to the heater.
blow on a kazoo.
Blow on the kazoo for a good 10 minutes. Maybe shoot at a couple ducks. You get them home by noon if they're done. And so it imprints that kid that, oh, hunting's cool. You know, I enjoy this. I enjoy being out, like he said, with my dad. And I enjoy eating donuts. I enjoy sitting in the blind and talking and hearing my dad talk about how wet his boot is all the time. And even though it's his fault, he don't fix it. You know, that's enjoyable. I like that. And that's how you make the kids want it. And the youth duck hunt is the most phenomenal place to do it, I think. Like as a deer hunt, you're walking around for days. You might not see anything. You're getting up early. You're hiking. You're tired. You're cold. The duck hunt, man, it's a country club.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice.
And the youth hunt's a good opportunity, too. When you do see the older hunters out there, the guys that have been out there for years and the guys that you know have the experience, send your kid over to them. Ask them some questions. If your kid's got questions, you can't answer them. Tell them to come talk to me. Tell them to come talk to the next guy. You know, Tracy Hammond, those guys like that are going to be out there.
Yeah.
Go ask them a question. You know, we've got guys like that have a lot of knowledge. There's plenty I can learn, you know, from those guys, from guys like Tracy Hammond, you know, and go up and talk to them. Have your kid go up and ask them a question. Maybe, you know, show me how to blow a duck call. Show me how to blow a goose call. You know, just little things that can get them to enjoy the sport that much more.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big part of it. It does have to be a community affair a little bit. So, and there's guys that are willing to take the time and teach these kids and teach them the right way, which is awesome, because you know they don't have to. John doesn't have to come out and take the twins out on hunt. Now, the cool thing was with that hunt with the twins and John is Scalen came out and he's hunted Northern California. That's his hunt. He knows that like the back of his hand. Well, it's a different hunt than here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a completely different hunt
It's a whole
than here.
different beast.
So Cody's sitting in the blind with him, and Cody's like, "That don't fly here." He goes, "You got to hunt this different." And so he was able to teach John, and John was open enough to listen to this 18-year-old kid tell him how to hunt. Well, Cody's hunted that game preserve a lot, you know, and so he has an idea of how the birds are going to work, what the birds are going to want to see when they're there. John got to learn something from him, and I think anytime you step into a blind with somebody different, there's an opportunity to learn something. I don't care how long you've been doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And it may just be, dude, I would never set my decoys like that. And then all of a sudden, ducks are hammering those decoys. Well, now maybe next time I'll incorporate that into my set too. And we all have different ideas, and things work better for different people, and we all have a different skill set. And we all get together and talk about what happens. That's one of the reasons we call around saying, "Hey, how you guys doing over there?" Is just because everybody's skill set's working different. And so we're able to see that and kind of get a better picture of you know, maybe I should have went over there today instead of over here, you know, and it's just, we don't hunt that preserve as much as we did a couple of years ago. We'll go somewhere else a lot of times.
Did you miss us?
What's that?
Did you miss us?
He's like, no, nobody's sky blasting around me. No, nobody's sky blasting.
Less people
so
out there
I'm
for
good.
me. Than
Howard's like, there are a lot more coots out there this year, man.
I don't know. There was a couple guys out there this year was hammering them. He was hammering
Oh
them
yeah,
pretty good.
opening day,
Just hammering
first
them.
light. I'm like, they're just hammering. I'm like, what are they shooting? Because there's nothing flying. And the next thing you know, coot are flying like ducks.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, somebody's harvesting
The
coot.
guy last weekend of the hunt, I think it was on Friday, come out. And I was talking to Betty up there. He come out and says he did real good. You know, it was awesome day of hunting. He pulls out his birds and they're all coots.
You should have. Me and my dad were hunting, and all of a sudden this dude shot rang off. I think he's walking around. All of a sudden he's in the water. I'm like, what did he shoot? Did he shoot a duck? And Dad's like, I don't know. All of a sudden he rings 3 coots next and throw them onto the shore. 1 shot rang off only though, and there's 3 coots he shot. So.
Nice, man. Lined them up.
Well,
Hey, do you know the end of this quote? If the ducks aren't flying, the coots are what?
No, I don't know it.
If ducks aren't
Dying.
flying, the coots are dying. And that's one of the things to get Cody kind of engaged. Is so he has an attention span of about a gnat, and so once that first couple flights in the morning is gone, he's done. And so we're like, you know what? Nothing's flying. There's nothing working. If you want to shoot a coot, shoot a coot. And it gave him something to where he could work on his skills as a marksman a little bit, and he had fun with it, right? But there's a time and a place to do things like that. So what I see is birds are working, and you got an idiot shooting a coot on the water.
I've
But it
That's happened
also
to us
it
a lot
allows.
this season.
Yeah. No, I agree. You shouldn't shoot
I don't
coots
care.
while
You
the
want
birds
to
are
shoot
working.
shoot coots. But damn, give me my hour of ducks that I get out of the day.
It goes back to the way they used to work geese out there, right?
So write that down. That's a quote.
Well, and that's the thing is Overton, especially this year, especially early season, you might get an hour in the morning. You might get 20 minutes is more like it. You got a good 20 minutes in the
Get your
morning,
first flight.
and then you didn't see anything for most of the day. And so what was happening is guys are shooting coots, shooting light, and they're going and harvesting 10 coot right away. Well, now those birds never came in. They're like, I don't want to be over there. There's too much racket going on over there. I know what's going to happen. And so it's just it's about doing it the right way. It's about looking out for your fellow hunter. And, I don't care. You want to kill every coot on the water, go ahead and kill every coot on the water, but just wait till everybody else is done working ducks first.
So that's what
But
I
after
said.
that first hour, it's like really, it's a confidence booster for kids to shoot a
Oh
coot.
yeah, I've done it plenty of times for him. A coot's been swimming by. You really want to shoot it? Go ahead. You're not going to hurt me none. But I've also told him too. Put it in the freezer and you're going to try it. You're going to try it. It's going to be dog treats, one or the other. But if you kill it, you're going to try it.
See, and we use them for.
You're going to use it, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to get used.
We use ours. We have a guy out in the valley that runs falcons, and so we use them. He uses them for training his birds,
really?
right? So, but I did the same thing. So Cody shot a coot, and I'm like, "You shot it, you got to eat it. That's our
try
rule.
it, yep.
You got to eat it." And so we made some nice coot chicken noodle soup,
Oh,
and so I get the first piece. I'm like, "This is just I can't do it, man. That liver."
some people love them. Some people love
yeah,
having them.
Rydell loves
Yeah,
them.
Rydell does love them. He makes sure everybody knows that there too. Sometimes I'm like, if he ever cooks for me, be careful what that man's cooking.
But so Cody gets this big old piece of coot and he eats it and he goes, "That's not bad. It tastes just like chicken." I'm like, "Boy, I don't know what kind of chicken you've been eating, but it ain't right."
Hey, if he likes them, he wants to eat them, go ahead. We used to have the guy that used to run a place, Keith. He used to come out there with coot burgers and coot jerky and stuff like that, and he'd try to get you to eat it. Yeah, I've opened them up and know what they smell like, so I'm sorry.
Exactly. And Rydell,
Trying to get you to eat it, huh?
one thing about Rydell is he'll eat, he eats just about anything. So he's like, I want to try coyote. So I want somebody to harvest a coyote, let me know, and I want to try it. But mountain lion, coyote, coot, you name it, and he'll try it and see what he can do with
It
it.
ain't it's worth a try. I mean,
Yeah.
And there's some guys that are like, oh, you just gotta soak it long enough and then rinse the water off, and it turns into regular meat. And I'm like,
if I got to take all the flavor out of it, I don't want to eat it.
I can use something else. Well, Blake, what you got, man?
What I think the biggest issue with hunting these days is from what I've heard from my dad. When they were working together, all hunters were friends, they'd work together, they'd kill stuff. But nowadays,
Let me correct you. We weren't all friends back in.
We all work together, though. We were co-workers.
nowadays though, my dad hunting, we'll have birds working and some will shoot a coot, or some people people
Swan.
go hunting for just to say they shot something like my dad said, or it's just everyone saying who shot the most birds. well, that person wins. It's kind of like a challenge everybody has. They don't take the sport for fun. They do it just to shoot and kill something and say they got something, and whoever eats the most birds wins. It's kind of like how their act is. And
I'll tell you that the guys I grew up with hunting and the guys my dad grew up with hunting, guy named Jack Doyle. If you ask any of the old timers out there who Jack Doyle was, I can't remember who was hunting with them, but they were hunting in a blind, and they had specklebellies come in, and they was bouncing on the ground, feet bouncing. It's right here. He wouldn't let him pull the trigger. He wouldn't let the guy he was with pull the trigger until them birds was on the ground. That's the type of hunters that I grew up with. You didn't pull the trigger unless some birds was on the ground in the decoys. Then you get up and shoot, because it's not only for me. It's not when the birds are in the decoys. It's not only for me to get the best chance of killing that bird. I'm now on the fly off. The next guy's got an opportunity to get them on the pass when they're leaving. So that's the type of hunting I grew up with. Patience, learning patience, getting birds in close.
It's a group hunt, really.
Yeah, taking care of each other. Man. Earlier this season when we killed all them geese earlier this season together, my dad was on the other side of the pond. We had a double land in the decoys. Well, we also had 4 work it. So we let that flight work until they landed in his decoys. I could have took that double. I could have shot the 4 over top of me. It didn't matter who was over there. I was going to let them birds do what they was doing. People just got to learn patience. They got to learn patience.
That's why I don't ever mind hunting by you guys, because I know if I'm hunting by you, the birds are going to get a chance to work.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to have birds starting to work and then you're going to blast on something else. We try to do the same thing. If I see birds working over another guy, we had hunted this year, and Steve Chamel was out hunting across the pond from us, and one of the things he said, he's gone from the point of harvesting limits, and he'll get limits most days.
Oh, yeah.
But now he's at the point to where he only wants to hunt teal. That's what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
He wants teal, and so he'll purposely most of the day just target teal. And so he's at the point where has a species he wants, and that's what he's going to hunt. Mm-hmm. A lot of these hunters that I see now, they don't care if it's a blackbird flying, they're going to shoot it. If it's a swan flying or a pelican flying, they're going to shoot it. They don't want to take the time to learn to do it the right way and identify birds. And so they're just going to shoot whatever they can. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as they see a bird, it's like, oh, I got to take this opportunity. I got to shoot at it. And I'm just like, it's a first pass bird. It's 250 yards up, and you're shooting at it like you're going to do something.
Well, I think a lot of problems out there is guys, like I said, they want their numbers. They want to be able to kill a bird, but they don't think about the opportunity that they just took away from everybody else. Mm-hmm. I've seen it a couple times this year. Birds coming over the project, especially when geese come out. Those are few and far in between, and they come out low. They're not paying no attention to you. Now I can't be mad at you. You took them at 20 yards, 25 yards. But some of the guys are taking them 60, 65 yards. They're coming over the project. Somebody may have an opportunity at them. Let them go. Let them pass. Those birds are up there a little ways. You're probably going to cripple a bird if you get lucky enough to hit one.
They're going to die in a week.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, one thing about that game preserve is, as soon as a bird takes off from the lake, because everybody on that preserve starts calling.
From bottom to top.
And I'm like, dude, are they yelling at that little speck over there 5 miles out?
Yeah. When I hear someone blow a duck call or a goose call, I'm like, where's it at? Yeah. Where's it at? I know there's someone somewhere.
You look across the street and over to Mesa, and here they come.
Yeah. Man, it's incredible.
Speaking of Steve might be out there this weekend. I might have him out there with me this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's got a kid he's talking about bringing out. I told him he's more welcome to join us in the blind. So.
He's a good guy,
awesome,
man. I like Steve a lot.
Steve's one of the kids I grew up with out there. Him and his brother. They've been out there hunting for years. His dad hunted out there when we were younger. They used to call him Bug Eyes. He'll tell you he don't know nothing about that.
Well, now everybody knows.
No one knows him, but that dude's a killer.
Oh, Steve's awesome.
He's a killer, man.
But he keeps to himself, right? And then
that's how you kill birds and keep spots. You stay to yourself.
but he also hunts smart, so he'll go. You beat him to a spot. He's not going to go try to shove in right next to you. He's going to go find another spot across the way, and
he's fine with that. Yeah,
and kill birds. And
if you have one X, you have two.
He's old school like us. You got there before me. All right, well, I'm not going to hunt on top of you, but I know another spot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is
you'll make sure they don't pile up here because you suck.
We all spend a lot of time hunting to figure out these spots, right? And so if you want to jump right on top of me, or you get the spot first, we went out one morning and we were there super early. We had a guy there at like 2:00 in the morning, and we're like, dude, we'll get the spot early. And there's already somebody sitting in the spot we wanted. So he just moved down and went to another spot. But we talked to the guys first. We're like, hey, this is what we're thinking. what do you guys think about it? And we were far enough away to where it wasn't going to affect our hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, we're good. And then somebody came and sat right on top of us. And, it's like,
Yeah, what are you gonna do, man?
People will do it. I've had people do it to keep him plenty of times. You set up decoys 250 yards down from the next guy, and somebody will come out 50 yards from you, and did you see me set up on purpose away from him? Whatever.
well, we do it with the
That's
Hymus.
public land, man.
Yeah, we do it with the
That's what they'll
Hymus.
tell you too.
We do it with the Hymus family all the time. So we go, if we're going up to Sunnyside or something like that, and we see them at the gas station leaving town, and we're like, hey, this is what we were thinking. Where are you guys going? And we're like, you're going there. We're going to hunt completely somewhere absolutely away from you. And so we developed a relationship, and we'll all look at maps together. And he was like, I'd go hunt here and sit over there, But that's how you earn respect as a hunter, especially as a newer hunter. If you're a brand new hunter and you come in and you start asking questions and start saying, hey, I know you're over here. Do you mind if I go over here? You're going to earn some respect points from that, because they know that you're not trying to ruin their hunt.
Yeah.
And then if somebody comes over and tells you, hey, let the birds work and quit sky busting, you want to pop off with an attitude. That's the first way to make sure nobody in the preserve wants to deal with you.
I'm not good at saying that nicely.
Well, no, neither are we.
Well, you act like you're mean, but you talk to people and you educate and you try to do it in the most passive way possible. But it's hard to say it nice, man.
It's hard to, especially when you're doing it. There's some kids out there, they know they do it and they laugh about it. That's very.
It's disrespectful.
Yes,
That's
bad.
part
It's
of
bad.
it.
It's very
But
bad.
the
It's
trick with
bad.
the sky busters is they all leave around 9 o'clock, 10. So
Yeah, I usually know that. We did have some good afternoon hunts this year.
Yeah.
We did definitely have some good afternoon
So
hunts.
if you want to work the ducks and you're kind of new at it and you want to see the right way to do it, stay later than 10 and watch what those guys are doing. 'Cause
Stay later and pay
that's when the
attention.
experts say.
And well, and just pay attention. When you see birds, when you see guys that are harvesting birds, or you see birds going to a certain area, and pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to when they're taking them. Observe what you can, and maybe ask questions. Maybe I've done it plenty of times where I've walked over to another blind. I know he's killing birds over here. I've walked out there, just where I'm not bothering him, but see what he's doing. See where he's got his decoys at. See what he's doing. Get an idea. Maybe go talk to him later. What are you doing that I'm not doing? Especially if it's somebody I know, like you said, we're shooting text messages back and forth. We're calling each other. What are you doing? What are you doing that's working? Because I need to know, because it ain't working. What I'm doing ain't working. You got to get education. Is just asking questions.
But you got to have that credit first. They have to know that you're not going to sky bust before they're going to talk to you.
There's some guys some guys you don't give information to.
Well, and there's
no reason to.
But you got to earn it. So part of the earning it thing is going in there and actually being a little bit humble and listening, and that's part of what's not happening. And the young kids get kind of a bad rap, I think, with it sometimes, because it's like, this young generation, they don't listen to anything. But the problem I'm seeing isn't necessarily the young kids. It's some of the older guys that you can't tell me anything. I know everything. I'm the expert, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and I don't care if it ruins your hunt. And the young kids, a lot of times, the younger kids, and there's some of them that are, they don't want to listen. That's just given. But a lot of the kids, times, if you took a kid aside and tell them, hey, this is what I'd try. I hunted closer last season with Randy, one of the kids from Ron's office, Cody, and then one of Cody's friends. And man, those kids, they were great to hunt with, because they all listen, they all want to learn. And then you get them into a blind, and they were some duck killers that day. And
I remember that. You guys were right behind us.
yeah, and so
I remember where you guys were at.
it was a good hunt for them. They had a good time, but they were willing to listen, and that's the biggest part. And that's one of the things that Ron and I did, is we'd ask a question, but we weren't asking for you to give us an X. We'd ask a question because we want to know what we're doing wrong so we can fix it. And then we'd screw it up so bad that we're like, dude, that didn't work. Oh, wait, I got a duck to fly in? Wait, we changed something. That must work.
Yeah, and I'm going to be hunting with the younger kids. Nick Goldie's going to come out and take Mitchell again and his buddies that age. And so I'm going to have younger kids like 5, 10, like these kids that are going to be loud and flare ducks. And if you have those kids in your blind, take somewhere close where it don't matter. You're not going to ruin anybody's hunt. Like if you have kids that are young and you're going to go out to the Overton duck hunt, take a crappy blind. Please do.
Not even that. Just
I think so. Because take 14 or take 9. Take somewhere close where the kids don't have to walk a long ways. It's going to be enjoyable for them, and you could bail out pretty soon.
Yeah, the part of that's teaching too. I've been in blinds where I've had kids that are rowdy. But you got to. they got to learn that duck hunting is patience. You know, you got to learn at a young age. Sometimes some kids can't learn it, you know. And hey, like you said, eventually, we'll just go ahead and stay away from everybody. But
you can save the older blinds for kids like your kid. You know, the ones that are like active hunters, have the itch, are ready to go. Like, you can save those good blinds for those kids.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's my 2 cents, and I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
You know, loud kids. That's what duct tape's for, right?
Oh, did I tell you what happened in my opening
this year?
Yeah, we're out there in the blind, man, and the duck, it comes up. We're in 9, and then a duck lands in the water. My girl shoots and she misses. All of a sudden, I got this bee in my face, and I swat it. And all of a sudden, my kid's got a bee in his face, and he swats it. And then all of a sudden, one of my kids gets stung. We were right on top of a hive, man. It was underneath the blind. We freaking booked out of that blind so quick.
I had to burn it down before I left.
And so at that point, I said, "Put the guns in. We're going home. I'm gonna buy y'all sodas. Let's go." So,
well, that's the thing is this youth opportunity is a great one, and so you got a lot of good dads that come out there and a lot of mentors that come out there. The kids aren't necessarily their own. They're going to teach them something. Like Steve's talking about bringing a kid out. Nick Goley's going to come out. John Scalen's coming out. None of them have kids that hunt, right? And so now they're all coming out with kids that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to hunt. And so it's great that we're getting people to actually step up and do that. And hopefully we take some kids and get them super excited about being a duck hunter and get them to buy more ammo and do more for conservation. And you know, that's the thing is every bit of this money we spend as hunters actually goes right back into conservation and making it better for all of us. So, you know, get your kids out. Buy them a set of waders and buy them that new gun because that money is going to go help us all. So
Yep.
oh.
So, what I think one of the big issues that me and my dad also struggle with is that most of these unexperienced hunters will shoot in the sky, but they want to see the decoys, so they take down all the brush. So me and my dad have to
Yes, preach, buddy, preach.
me and my dad have to
Let's
bring
hear
out
it.
our electric saw to put up more stuff, and sometimes we forget, and we have to bring.
Oh, you guys
Face
are ones
protection and
that are
everything.
blocking my view that I have to burn it down every time I
Man,
go out there.
that is one of my biggest pet peeves this year.
Yeah, it's
is like we
horrible.
have these beautiful brush and blinds, you know, it's covering your face, and these guys are why are you knocking it down, man? Someone put it up that way because they're a good hunter, and you're ruining it for everybody.
And all you're doing is looking up in the sky like this. Where are they at?
Well, not only that, man, they're looking over the front and they're blind like this. But they knock the brush down so their face is in the front and they're blind. Why?
Call it pie
Why?
facing.
Man, I wish someone would go punch him in the mouth.
That most of the
You let them do that so the birds stay away from them and they come over where I'm at.
Yeah, but then you have
Exactly.
to put it back up next time you want to hunt that, man.
That's part of hunting.
It is. Oh
It
god,
sucks,
it
but
is.
it's part
It
of
is
hunting.
super
Well,
annoying.
and that's the thing is the beginning of the season, most of those blinds, say get that assault cedar up in front of them. Most of those blinds were pretty good to hunt out of
They
because
look
they were
really
nice.
super brushed in. And then a week later, guess what? There ain't a
Somebody
stick
goes
of
in
brush
there
to be found.
They had to
Knocks
take
every
time
bit
to
of it
do
down.
that too. They took time out of their day to ruin that blind. Why?
I have
Please stop.
We've set up-
Whoever you are, if you're listening, stop.
we've brushed up plenty of blinds and gone out there and a hunt or two later, and they took every bit of brush down and just left the box, and it's
I think there's a brush to empty shotgun shell ratio, and so the less brush, the more empty shotgun shells are
Well,
laying
I
around the
think of
blind.
maybe they're trying to clean up. You know, they were trying to clean the place up. You know,
Ah, shoot, man, this brush that someone tucked in is really overgrown. I better take it all down. Why? Please, if you're here, listeners, please stop.
And it comes to education because you know
Good
the
point,
best
Blake, man. Good point.
best
man.
thing you could do as a duck hunter is find as much cover as you possibly get.
hide.
Yeah, stay away, hold still, keep your head down, keep your mouth shut. Don't look at the dang ducks.
If you can't hear them, you can still hear. If you can't see them, you can still hear them land.
I don't know if anybody caught it, but there was a post that was put up. A guy, you know, unfortunately, a guy flew his drone out there,
Yeah.
got himself in trouble. But if you've seen those pictures before he took them down, if you've seen the overtop view of the blind, you know that's what these birds are seeing. People, that's what they're seeing. There's
Two guys standing up in a blind.
And two guys standing in there. You know, you
Well,
gotta cover yourself up.
The other thing is even if you're in perfect camo and you're looking down those open top blinds like that, so a bird flies over and it's a big black hole. So you got all this normal natural habitat in a black square.
Yep.
You don't think that's going to say, hey, something's wrong? Throw some brush over, tuck in as much as you can, get some brush in front of you, and you're going to harvest more birds. I mean,
yeah.
that's just part of it. We had, for closer, Ron and I were hunting, and I was tucked behind some brush, and Ron's like, Brian, take that bird. And I'm like, I can't see it. He goes, just stand up and shoot. So I stand up and there's a bird, and I'm like, really? That bird's kind of far out, but I hadn't shot at anything that morning. I'm like, I guess I'll shoot at it. So I stood up and shot at it. As soon as I shot at it, here's one
out of the decoys.
20 yards into the 20 yards in front of us, whoop, it flies off. I'm like, really? But
I've had plenty of stand up and get scared because somebody was in your decoys wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's why you always stand up with your gun. You never know.
But that's part of it. If you got a guy that's has enough view or brushed in, has enough view to call, that's all you need. And you just talk about what's going on. And if you're good and yeah, guys in the blind, you'll know which direction they're coming from. You'll know where they're coming from, and you'll know when to get up and shoot because it's pretty easy.
When we hunt, when we're in the blind, it's one guy controls the blind. That's the way it should be. One guy controls the blind. I call a shot. I'll let you know where the birds are. Keep your face down. Stay down. Don't move. One guy will take care of it.
That's part of the excitement too, man.
Well, being able to see the birds and see them work and do what they do, in the right setting is fine. But in those blinds out there, a lot of times when the birds are coming over top, my first thing I'll tell you is put your face down. I'll take care of calling. If I'm in the blind, I'm going to call. I'm going to worry about working the birds. I'll tell you where the birds are at. I'll call a shot. I'll let you know where they're at. But then if my dad's in a blind, my dad runs the blind. I put my face down and I wait. Wait till dad calls a shot. It depends on who's calling a shot.
Yeah.
That's you just got to. Everybody looking up, four faces looking up. It ain't gonna help anybody.
No, but you got those guys out there now that come out in the Duck Dynasty camo. So they paint their face purple and green and black and orange.
Oh man, they look good.
Yeah. I've painted my face before. I'm not gonna knock that. I got a nice bright red beard. It's got to be covered up a little bit. But there was a guy hunting across from me this year, and I'd seen something white over there. I was wondering what it was. Get the binoculars out. He's got a white and black hat. He's standing in a blind with a white and black hat on.
My
Whatever.
favorite story. I was hunting with Scott Fowler, and we're hunting 5, and we got there's some pintails working. They come in that back corner, and so we're like sitting there. Well, these guys come out of 4, walk that back dike, and start shooting at the pintails on our pond. And so I'm already pissed, right? So I'm mad. Well, then I look over, and Scott's like, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" And there are literally 2 guys standing in the brush. Like you could totally see them standing up in the brush. Each one of them has a palm frond in their hand that they're holding in front of their face.
Pay for effort.
A piece of a palm tree, like a palm tree leaf. And they're standing, it's in front of their face, and you could totally see that it's a person standing there.
They're holding with their right hand.
And Scott and I just start busting up laughing. I mean, it's just, you can't make this stuff up. I mean,
give them an A for effort, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we've been here for about an hour, man. Thank you so much for coming in tonight,
we've been
guys.
here for an hour and a half. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't get past an hour. You
Yeah,
got
you
any
can't
tips
count
for the
that
young
high.
guys coming out, Blake? Any last words of advice? Favorite donut to pick or what?
Try not to sky bus. Let them land. From what me and my dad had seen when we went quail hunting. It's going to be a good hunt. You just need to let the birds land, give them a chance. Try to let them land. That's like the biggest issue. They've been landing a lot from what we've seen. They're everywhere. It's going to be a good hunt as long as you let them land. You don't take them in the air. If you have to take them in the air, if they flare or anything, I understand. But try to let them land at most because then you'll get the best chance for the young ones, like the 5 or 6 year olds that need help aiming from their parents. Let them land. It gives them a better chance. When they're in air, it's a lot harder. Try to let the birds land a lot more.
That's good advice, man.
Are you gonna
that's
let
coming from a 13-year-old, everybody?
Are you going to let any of the kids have ducks this year, Blake, or are you going to take them all?
I've been shooting more ducks than my dad this year. 'Cause
Dude, he's all about throwing you under the bus today, man.
they have that
Make 'em feel
protection
good.
barrier.
Gotta make them feel good.
They have that protection barrier when my dad shoots, and obviously they don't have that for me.
They put the shields up in your dad's shoes off.
I've had a hard time killing some birds on the water this year. I don't know what the deal was.
One of the times my dad shot all around him, he flies off, and I'm like, Dad, why'd he fly off? I don't know.
Yeah, wait till you eat those new kick chokes, man. They won't fly away.
Yeah, they're gonna be dead. Well, all right. Well, looks like we're done with another one. So if you're gonna go out this weekend, make sure you take somebody with you. If you're gonna take somebody with you, make sure you teach them something. If you can't take somebody or teach somebody, make sure you hunt hard.